A thick metal collar snapped around Aaron Voss's throat. Cold, seamless, an executioner's grip. The Thalcorin handlers shoved her forward, her boots sliding against the damp, alien soil. Towering trees stretched high, their twisted branches curling like skeletal fingers. A heavy mist clung to the ground, swirling with every movement. Somewhere beyond the tree-line, guttural laughter echoed, a dozen voices, savoring the hunt before it even began. From a raised platform, Archduke Zorvac surveyed her with a predatory grin. His ochre scales gleamed under the twin suns, his dark ceremonial armor pristine, unmarred by combat. A clawed hand gestured lazily, dismissing her as a mere amusement. "She runs, we chase," he announced, his deep voice rippling through the clearing. "When she tires, we get her." A chorus of cheers erupted from the assembled hunters. Their elongated forms, predatory eyes, and bio-enhanced armor gave them every advantage. Aaron remained still. Measured breaths. Calculating eyes. Zorvac leaned forward, clearly relishing the moment. "I do hope you give us a challenge, human." Her lip curled. "I'll do my best." He chuckled. "You may begin." The leash retracted, the restraints snapped open, and Aaron bolted. The jungle swallowed her whole. Her body moved on instinct. Controlled strides, conserving energy. The terrain was dense, but she adapted quickly, slipping between thick roots and razor-edged foliage. They would wait. Toy with her. The first few minutes were meant to build anticipation, let their prey feel a sliver of hope before closing in. Her fingers brushed against the collar. No locks, no seams, high-grade tech, likely rigged with explosives. No time to worry about that now. She needed weapons. 10 minutes into the run, she spotted what she was looking for, a jagged rock formation, one of the many geological anomalies her reconnaissance team had mapped months ago. And if the terrain matched their intel. There. A hollow beneath an outcropping. She dropped to her knees, hands brushing aside damp leaves. Beneath them, cold steel met her touch. A buried cache. A flick of her wrist, and the concealed panel slid open, revealing a compact combat knife, a silenced projectile pistol, and a small bundle of rations. Just as planned? Aaron exhaled. Revenant had prepared for this. The thrill of the hunt had blinded the Thalcorin to one simple truth: she wasn't just a target. She was bait. The first hunter arrived sooner than expected. He moved carelessly, crashing through the undergrowth, overconfident. He hadn't activated his helmet's thermal optics. Why would he? She was just a human, weak, fragile, doomed. Aaron melted into the shadows, pressing her back against the damp bark of a towering tree. Her heartbeat slowed, her breathing shallow. The hunter passed within inches. She struck. One precise motion, a sharp tug to his neck, the combat knife slicing through the thinner plating between his helmet and armor. He made a strangled sound, clawing at his throat, but she twisted the blade, severing his windpipe. He fell without a sound. Blood soaked into the mossy ground. Aaron crouched, stripping his body with practiced efficiency. She claimed a wrist-mounted interface, a sidearm, and 3 curved blades of Thalcorin craftsmanship. The rest, she left. No need to carry weight she wouldn't use. A whisper of static crackled from the fallen hunter's calm. "Report." She brought the device to her lips. Mimicked the gurgling speech of the Thalcorin with unsettling precision. "Sector clear." A pause. Then, "Proceed to the next grid." She grinned. Now they were blind. Minutes stretched into an hour. The hunters spread out, weaving through the jungle in disciplined formations. Aaron counted at least 8, though more lurked in the canopy, waiting for her to falter. She crouched beneath a thick web of vines, her stolen interface flickering with alien script. A few quick adjustments, and the collar's signal was scrambled, temporarily. They wouldn't notice until they tried to trigger it. A branch snapped in the distance. 2 hunters flanking. Aaron shifted her weight, gripping a stolen blade. The moment had to be perfect. Too soon, and she'd alert the others. Too late, and... A deep voice growled from the shadows. "She's close." Aaron smiled. She moved fast, faster than they expected. The first hunter barely had time to react before her knife plunged into his side, piercing the weaker mesh beneath his arm. He roared, staggering. The second spun, raising his weapon. Too slow. Aaron fired her silenced pistol, the shot punching clean through his visor. He crumpled. The wounded hunter lunged, claws swiping, but she sidestepped effortlessly, driving her blade through his chest. She twisted. A wet gurgle, then silence. She exhaled, wiping the blood from her face. The game had changed. She wasn't running anymore. High above, on the viewing platform, Zorvak watched the flickering vitals of his hunters. 2 signals blinked out. He frowned. Strange, one of his advisors murmured. The human should be alive, Zorvak finished, his lips curling downward. The realization was slow, creeping. The first deaths had been expected, accidents, perhaps. But now, something felt wrong. He tapped his claw against the console. Send in the vanguard. Flush her out. A hesitant pause. My lord, that's... Zorvak's gaze snapped to the officer, his eyes cold. Do it. Aaron crouched atop a fallen log, surveying the jungle below. The bodies had been hidden, weapons stripped. The comm interface was still operational, feeding her snippets of enemy chatter. A new voice crackled through. Vanguard deploying. Close the perimeter. She flexed her fingers. Perfect. Slowly, deliberately, she activated her hidden subdermal mic, her voice a ghost against the static. Revenant, green light. A pause. Then, through the encrypted line. Copy. Phase 1 complete. Stand by. Aaron's lips curled into a smirk. Let the hunt begin. Aaron crouched beneath tangled roots, rainwater dripping from the leaves above. The jungle had shifted. The silence wasn't natural anymore. The vanguard had arrived. She felt them before she heard them, heavier footfalls, deliberate pacing. These weren't arrogant trophy hunters. They were professionals. Their armor gleamed, reinforced with kinetic dampeners. Their optics scanned with precision. She exhaled slowly. This was the real test. A squad of 4 moved in formation across the ravine. One covered the high ground, the others advancing in a wedge. Smart. Careful. No gaps to exploit. But they were hunting the wrong kind of prey. Aaron reached into her pouch, pulling out a small sonic lure, one of her hidden advantages. She twisted the dial, setting the frequency just above Thalcorin auditory comfort. She tossed it toward the rocks. It bounced once. Twice. Activated. A shrill pulse rippled through the air. The lead hunter flinched, his balance shifting. The rear guard pivoted, eyes drawn away from their careful sweep. That hesitation was all she needed. She slid down the slope, knife in one hand, stolen sidearm in the other. The first hunter turned too late. She slammed the knife through the soft joint between his chest plate and shoulder. He dropped without a sound. The others reacted fast. Shots sizzled past her as she rolled into cover behind a mossy boulder. The vanguard leader barked orders in sharp, clipped commands. No panic. These were soldiers. She pulled the plasma cell from the sidearm and rigged it to overload. A small toss over the boulder. Boom. White heat flashed through the clearing. The closest hunter crumpled, armor blackened and smoking. 2 down. The last 2 advanced with caution now, flanking her position. Aaron moved low and fast, circling wide. She spotted their exposed flank and fired twice. The shots pierced their side vents. One collapsed, the other whirled toward her. He rushed forward, blade drawn, screaming in fury. Aaron sidestepped, kicked his knee sideways, and drove her knife up under his chin. His body sagged against her before she let him drop. The jungle fell silent again. She knelt, pulling the squad leader's comm unit from his armor. Encryption was stronger here, but she didn't need to break it. Just listen. A harsh voice crackled through. Vanguard unit, report. Aaron pressed the button, imitating the mechanical rasp of their speech. Perimeter clear. No contact. A pause. Then, hold position. Secondary teams en route. Good. They still thought they had control. She tapped into her subdermal mic. Revenant package acquired. Beginning phase 2. A soft voice responded. Copy, Commander. Orbital eyes confirm heavy patrol patterns. You've got 30 minutes before they tighten the net. Understood. She closed the channel. Time to move. The jungle thickened ahead. A dense marsh lay between her and the next rendezvous point. Erin slowed her breathing, slipping into the muck with practiced ease. The water was cold, stinking of decay. She waited silently, eyes scanning for movement. A rustle on the far side. Another squad. But these weren't soldiers. They were overconfident again, civilian nobles armed but careless. Zorvak's prize hunters. She watched them fan out, laughing among themselves. One of them spat into the water, talking loudly about her inevitable death. Erin's expression hardened. She waited until they passed. Then she moved. Her approach was silent. One quick strike, her blade slicing into the nearest hunter's thigh, severing the artery. He fell, gurgling. The others turned, shocked. She fired twice. 2 more down. The last hunter froze, wide-eyed. He dropped his weapon. Erin advanced slowly, pistol raised. Please! He choked out in broken Terran. She pressed the barrel against his temple. How many more squads? He swallowed hard. 4, patrolling the eastern ridge. Heavy artillery stationed at the drop point. She nodded. Transmit their positions. He fumbled with his comms. She watched closely, ready to shoot if he hesitated. Coordinates scrolled across her stolen interface. Confirmed. She stepped back. Thank you, she said quietly. A single shot ended his life. The eastern ridge loomed ahead. Rocky cliffs, exposed ground, dangerous terrain. Erin stayed low, using every shadow. The hunters above were restless. The vanguard's silence had reached them. Tension crackled in the air. She positioned herself beneath an overhang, studying the encampment. 4 gun emplacements. Several patrols circling the perimeter. Zorvak's personal transport sat at the center, heavily guarded. Her eyes narrowed. That ship would be her signal fire. She activated her mic again. Revenant, transmit signal interference to grid 9B. Copy. Jamming in 30 seconds. She counted down silently. At 0, the camp's systems flickered. Confusion erupted. She moved. Erin scaled the cliffside, using natural handholds and the vines that strangled the rocks. At the top, she landed softly behind a distracted guard. Knife. Quiet kill. The chaos grew below. She sprinted toward the transport, planting 3 explosive charges beneath the landing struts. As she retreated into cover, her thumb hovered over the detonator. Phase 2 complete, she whispered. She pressed the trigger. A thunderous explosion shattered the night. The transport flipped, debris raining down on the scrambling hunters. Panic. Shouts. The hunt was broken. Erin watched from the shadows, satisfaction cold and precise. Then she slipped back into the jungle, leaving nothing but smoke and silence in her wake. The jungle pulsed with alarm. Erin could feel it in the air. Every branch trembled with the vibrations of approaching squads. The explosion had shattered their confidence but replaced it with relentless aggression. The hunt had turned desperate. She moved fast, weaving between towering roots and slick stone. Her mind mapped out terrain from memory, cliffs to the east, marshes to the south, a dried riverbed cutting straight through the center. She needed to reach that riverbed. Revenant would rendezvous there. A flicker on her stolen wrist interface drew her eyes. Multiple signals converging, moving in tight formation. The Thalcorin had finally done what they should have from the beginning, unify. About time, she muttered, picking up her pace. A pulse round hissed past her, searing bark off a tree. They were here. She dove behind a moss-covered boulder. Shots peppered the air, branches splintering and leaves igniting. Plasma scorched the ground inches from her boots. Fan out! A harsh voice barked. Erin took a measured breath, flicked her eyes upward. The treetops were dense, but not too dense. She holstered her pistol and climbed. Fast, silent, deliberate. 2 hunters advanced below, weapons sweeping the underbrush. Their helmets turned side to side, optics scanning for heat. Erin crouched on a thick branch, judging the distance. The first dropped with a brutal kick to the neck. The second whirled just in time to catch her knife to the throat. Blood sprayed, hot and acidic, hissing against bark. She hit the ground running before their bodies fully slumped. More shouts echoed behind her. They'd heard. Erin reached the riverbed, its cracked earth glowing faintly with bioluminescent moss. She sprinted across, her boots barely making a sound. Ahead, a flicker of movement. A shadow stepped out, humanoid armored, but the posture was familiar. Revenant 1. A voice crackled in her earpiece. Erin relaxed her grip on the knife. Report, she ordered. Revenant 1, call sign, Dane Voss, her second in command and the only person in the galaxy who could keep pace with her, handed her a compact data tablet. Orbital scans confirm full force deployment. 35 hostiles remain. Heavy armor. Gunships inbound. And extraction? He pointed skyward. 3 minutes out. Low orbit insertion confirmed. Erin nodded. We don't wait for them to come to us. Dane grinned. Was hoping you'd say that. They moved like wraiths, slipping through the jungle toward the forward staging area. The Thalcorin had set up a fallback perimeter around a jagged stone plateau. Spotlights stabbed through the night. Heavy plasma turrets rotated slowly, tracking nothing, yet. Erin crouched behind a moss-covered log, surveying the scene. We go loud or clever? Dane whispered. Both. She drew out a small spherical device, a mirage emitter. Tossed it into the clearing. Immediately, phantom heat signatures bloomed across the plateau. The turrets locked on and fired. Plasma rounds tore into stone, shattering defenses. Confusion rippled through the Thalcorin ranks. Erin and Dane moved, fast and ruthless. Erin took the left flank, disabling 2 sentries before they could radio in. Dane lobbed an EMP grenade, short-circuiting an entire block of defense grids. Chaos unfolded. Erin reached the command tent, slit the flap open with her blade. Inside, 2 officers turned, startled. One reached for his weapon, too late. She shot him clean through the head. The second fumbled with his calm. Erin lunged forward, grabbed him by the collar. Where's Zorvac? The officer choked on his panic. He's at the summit. Command center. She dropped him, left him to shake in terror. Summit, she murmured into her mic. Dane's voice came back. Already moving. Erin followed. The summit was a jagged rock formation rising sharply above the jungle. At its peak, a fortress-like command station pulsed with energy. Zorvac's final stand. Erin and Dane scaled the cliff face. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. At the top, they paused in the shadows. Inside, through the translucent walls of the command dome, Zorvac paced like a caged beast. His ceremonial armor was gone, replaced by sleek battle gear. His face twisted in frustration as he barked orders into the calm. The prey has teeth, he roared. Erin's lips curled into a smile. Dane tapped her shoulder. We end this now. She nodded. No speeches. They moved. The doors slid open with a hiss. Zorvac spun, his eyes widening. You! Erin fired first, catching his shoulder. He roared, diving behind a console. Plasma rounds streaked toward them, searing the walls. Dane flanked left, laying down cover fire. Erin charged forward, leaping over the console. Zorvac met her with brute force, slamming into her chest with his armored fist. She rolled with the impact, came up fast, elbow to his jaw. He staggered. All this, for pride? He spat. For family, she hissed. She swept his legs. He fell hard, but grabbed her ankle, yanking her down. They grappled, fists and claws. His strength was overwhelming, but she was faster. She headbutted him, broke his nose. He howled. She used the distraction to flip him onto his back, pistol pressed against his forehead. His eyes narrowed. Defiant to the end. "Do it!" he growled. She did. The fortress alarms blared. Aaron and Dane sprinted for the extraction point as the jungle behind them erupted in explosions. Above, Revenant's gunship broke through the clouds, descending with surgical precision. The hatch opened before they touched down. Dane jumped in first, pulling Aaron up by the arm. Inside, the pilot called out, "All aboard!" Aaron collapsed into a seat, heart still pounding. Dane handed her a canteen. "Not bad for a hunting trip." She smirked, took a long drink. The gunship lifted off, leaving the smoldering remains of Zorvak's empire behind. Hunt complete. The gunship broke atmosphere in a smooth, rising arc, leaving smoke and shattered command structures below. Inside, the cabin vibrated softly with engine hum. Aaron's chest finally loosened. She sat back, eyes half-lidded, but her mind refused rest. Dane glanced at her from across the cabin. "Still thinking?" "Always." He chuckled low. "You just dismantled the hunting elite of a galactic empire. You'd think you could take a breath." Aaron rubbed at the scar on her forearm, a nervous habit. "They never learn. Another Zorvak will rise. Another empire will convince themselves humanity is sport." Dane leaned forward. "And we'll remind them." The pilot's voice crackled in their ears. "Commander, approaching extraction fleet. Transmitting clearance codes." Aaron sat up straight, watching through the viewport as Fury Dawn, the flagship of the Revenant Squadron, appeared like a jagged spear in orbit. A beautiful, deadly fortress, one they'd bled for. "Prepare for docking," the pilot announced. They glided into the bay, landing with a soft metallic thump. The ramp lowered. Rows of armored soldiers waited, silent and disciplined. Aaron descended slowly, Dane at her side. Lieutenant Kira met them at the bottom. "Commander. Mission success?" Aaron gave a single nod. "Zorvak is dead. His chain of command scattered. Hunting protocols are terminated." Kira smiled faintly. "Humanity is no longer prey." Aaron looked at her team, warriors from Earth, Mars, Europa, even colonies far beyond Sol, each bearing scars earned in defiance of stronger, older empires. No slaves. No subjects. Only predators. The debrief was quick, efficient. Intelligence officers scrubbed captured data while combat analysts mapped the power vacuum left by Zorvak's death. Aaron stood at the observation deck, staring out at the swirling gas giant they orbited. The Empire's world, still burning from her team's assault. Dane joined her, arms folded. "You thinking of going back? To Earth?" He nodded. She shook her head. "Not yet. There was too much unfinished business. Too many other empires watching." "You know they'll retaliate," Dane said quietly. "I'm counting on it." They stood in silence for a moment. Then her datapad chirped. "Incoming transmission. High priority." Aaron keyed it open. Admiral Voss, Dane's father, appeared, his face grim. "Commander Solace." "Sir?" "We intercepted chatter. The Thalcoran Council has declared you an enemy of the Empire. A bounty. Open hunt." Dane's jaw tightened. Aaron exhaled slowly. "They're doubling down. Worse," Admiral Voss continued. "They've called upon allied systems. The hunt extends beyond the Thalcoran now." Aaron met his gaze. "Let them come." Admiral Voss's expression softened, almost proud. "Your squad's standing by. You have full authorization for defensive preemptive strikes." She nodded. "Understood." The Admiral cut the channel. Dane let out a breath. "You wanted confirmation. I got it." Hours later, Aaron called her team into the war room. The circular table flickered with holographic projections, maps of star systems, flashing icons for military movements, bounty notices in multiple languages. Zorvak was the tip of a larger spear, Aaron began. We've rattled their cages. Now they're mobilizing. Kira frowned. How many systems? 7 confirmed. 4 on the edge. Potential spillover into neutral zones. Dane stepped forward. They'll try to take us on their terms. Aaron pointed at a cluster of systems in red. We won't let them. A low murmur of agreement. She tapped the interface, and new data displayed: safe harbors, sympathetic colonies, resource caches. We have allies. We protect them first. We intercept hunting parties before they gain strength. Kira smiled. We turn their hunt into a war. Aaron's eyes burned with cold fire. Into a message. The room fell silent. Dane broke it. Orders? Suit up, Aaron said. All of you. This isn't defense anymore. The squad dispersed like wolves scenting blood. Aaron sat alone in her quarters, the adrenaline gone, replaced by quiet clarity. A soft chime sounded. She opened the door. Dane stood there, holding 2 cups of steaming black tea. He handed her one. Can't plan a war on an empty stomach. She took a sip, exhaling steam. Remember when we were just cadets? Dane smirked. Barely. You punched me in the mouth on day 3. You deserved it. He laughed. Then he sobered. You never stop, do you? She met his gaze. They hunted us for centuries. Called us weak, fragile. We endured. We outsmarted. But they never understood what makes us dangerous. He nodded. Our anger? Our unity, she corrected. He raised his cup in salute. To humanity. No longer prey. She tapped her cup to his. Only predators. They sat in silence, drinking. Outside the viewport, the stars shimmered, infinite worlds, infinite threats. But also infinite opportunities. Her datapad chimed again, a list of new bounties. Her name. Her squad. Her species. Aaron smiled faintly. Let them hunt. They would learn the same lesson Zorvak had. Some prey bites back. Hard.